What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. We've got some stuff to talk about, you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Right? A lot of people, I think, are aware that AI is going to be very helpful or detrimental to society, depending on what direction it takes. Right? I think there's going to be a lot of benefits from AI. I'm an AI hopeful person, right? But you never know, right? There's always caveats, but all I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin Cash here, at least by AI standards, is the real Bitcoin. It really is. It's true. I asked Grok. I said, "Hey Grok," I said, "which Bitcoin adheres most to the original Bitcoin white paper from Satoshi, BCH or BTC?" And he goes through all this stuff, all this stuff. If you want to read all of that conversation, you can just ask him the same question, or you can go to my profile. Let's see. I thought it was going to take me to my profile, but it didn't. You can go to my profile and just read it here. Click show more, and you can read that if you want to on x.com. But the conclusion, and by the way, my X page is this. Let's see. Hold on. Let me zoom it in for you guys, because I know that. Let's see. Can you see it? You can't see it. Let me mute myself. It's at Chris Harris 85. That's me. Okay. That's me. Anyways. Yes, my name is Chris. Hi, nice to meet you. Anyways, scrolling all the way down here, I'm just going to read the conclusion, right? The verdict here, okay? Bitcoin Cash is closer to the original white paper's version due to its prioritization of low-cost on-chain transactions and alignment with Nakamoto's stated scaling preferences. However, BTC's dominance, so just because it's popular, huh, Grok? BTC's dominance in security, it's dominance in security, but the reason why it's got dominance in security is because of its popularity, right? That's it, because BTC is accepted as the real Bitcoin. It has a larger network, therefore it's more secure. Decentralization too, while a larger network, you're probably going to have more decentralization and adoption. It's all the same thing, right? Makes it stronger network overall, though it leans toward a store of value role rather than electronic cash, right? It's exactly what we've been saying. All the Bitcoin Cash people are aware of this. The Bitcoin people will be made aware of this soon enough, but Bitcoin is a store of value. Everybody says there can't be two, right? The issue with Bitcoin Cash is that there can't be two. There cannot be a Bitcoin and a Bitcoin Cash. There can only be one, right? And the better one is going to be decided. But the reality is Bitcoin does not want to be what Satoshi meant for it to be, which is electronic peer-to-peer cash. Okay, just because it has more adoption and it's got a stronger network and more decentralization because of that added adoption. Imagine if there's added adoption to Bitcoin Cash, all these things would be truer for it as well. Though it leans toward a store of value role rather than electronic cash, the verdict is that Bitcoin Cash is the true Bitcoin, right? It is the better Bitcoin. Undoubtedly it is. What happens whenever everybody becomes aware of that? What happens whenever the average pleb in crypto is aware that Bitcoin Cash is the better BTC, right? It's like a time machine. It's like $481 is a gift here for what will one day be worth $111,000. And I got sidetracked, but again, the thought was that there can't be a Bitcoin and a Bitcoin Cash. There can only be one peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Well, the thing is, there is only one. And there's multiple other ones out there in the crypto space that are trying to be the same, but they'll never compete with BCH at least, right? Because BCH wants to be electronic peer-to-peer cash. Bitcoin wants to be electronic store of value, right? That digital gold versus digital cash. There can be two. There can be two. We can coexist with each other. And I think, unfortunately for Bitcoin, if Bitcoin Cash and when Bitcoin Cash is realized for the true Bitcoin, the commodity, I don't know what word to use, the thing that it is, whenever it's realized for what it is, I think that will diminish Bitcoin's value a little bit, but there will always be value in Bitcoin. The reason why there's always going to be value, guys, imagine that the majority switches to Bitcoin Cash. Imagine Bitcoin Cash flips Bitcoin. Some people imagine that every single day. They've dreamed about that. Some people, like myself, they've come around to realizing that, and some people don't think it's ever going to happen. Whatever, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't happen. But imagine, let's just pretend that Bitcoin Cash does flip Bitcoin. Even in that world where BCH flips Bitcoin, Bitcoin will still have value. Because there's going to be people like Michael Saylor. There's going to be people who are buying Bitcoin and using Bitcoin still. It might have less value in this world where BCH flips BTC. It might have less value and a diminished value than what it could have seen if BCH didn't exist. But it would still have value, right? I highly doubt that Bitcoin itself will ever be worth less than $100,000 again, even if BCH flips it and when it flips it. But all I'm trying to offer here is that the average person is not aware of what Grok seems to know unequivocally, right? And there's all these explanations. You can have all these additional considerations and blah blah blah, all this stuff. There's various things, but it's very clear that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. It really is clear. And if you don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge, if you don't have the ability to decipher that yourself, maybe trust Grok or trust AI. Ask Gemini, ask ChatGPT, whatever. You're going to come up with the same results. Anyways, $481 now. Let's get on with our bad selves. Let's talk about this. Okay, I chalked that up as a point. That's a win for the BCH gang, because it's you can't really argue that, right? You can't argue with an AI, or you can try to, but AI is probably going to win. $481 here, 11 days, 9 hours left in this month, in this wonderful month. Beyond the AI telling us what we already know, we can see here in the charts that we are absolutely on the brink of breaking out here, right? We are on the brink of a massive move. Anytime you break out, you back test a line like this. I can't think of a single example that I've seen something like this happen and it didn't result in a massive pump. We've been forecasting like for a very long time. We've been forecasting that this move that's going to break us out of this overall downtrend will be the largest move that Bitcoin Cash has ever seen in its history, right? Because there's all these things going on. Think about it, right? It's a perfect storm, okay? First off, you're breaking out of a multi-cycle, lifelong historical downtrend as far as the resistance line goes. It's not a downtrend overall, just like we're not in an uptrend overall with these higher lows. Just because we have higher lows doesn't mean we're in an uptrend. Just because we're getting lower highs does not mean we're in a downtrend. We're in a consolidation phase, but we're breaking out of this downward sloping trend line, this resistance line, lifelong historical point, breaking out of this consolidation phase. Point one, that's awesome. That's spectacular. There's going to be a big move because of that. Point number two is that the moving average exponential ribbon, the MA ribbon, has flipped bullish on the monthly time frame. We haven't seen the bullish results, execution, whatever you want to call it, from that, right? We haven't seen the move that comes with this, right? This was not it. There's going to be a bigger move. It's like this here, how we contracted and then we expanded. That was your bearish move. We're going to get something of this magnitude, but to the upside, right? And I did say this is the biggest move we're getting set up for in Bitcoin Cash's history. That means up or down. This is the biggest move that we've ever seen. It's loading right now. Why? Breaking out of this range. Why? Flipping bullish. We haven't seen the monthly ribbons execute yet, right? BCH BTC, another reason, right? This is the first time, and this is actually not the longest. Let's get something with more history. BCH on Binance. This will be the first time ever that we see Bitcoin Cash provide higher highs on a macro level, right? I shouldn't say the first time ever. I guess we had it back here, but we're going to be turning the boat around, right? We're going to be changing the tempo of this, right? You can see that the lows are slowly turning here, right? This is actually very positive. This suggests accumulation, right? That's what this suggests. And a chart like this versus Bitcoin, you don't get this. It's normally just down forever. That's all it is. But you're turning here. And there will likely be a reverberation back to some kind of mean up here. I don't care if we're worth 1.5%, 3%, 7% by the end of the cycle, whatever it is. Bitcoin Cash is likely going to have a massive comeuppance here. And by the end of this cycle, let alone over the years and over the cycles to come, I would expect going into 2030, Bitcoin Cash really starts to give BTC a run for its money. The discussion is going to change here. And then, of course, talking about that ties in well. Looking at the BCH BTC chart, you can see the momentum is shifting here. We haven't gotten to the point where it's the exciting point yet, right? We're actually at the point where if you ever see a chart like this, please tell me, because I want to get in before the upside comes, right? I want to get in on the soft curve. I want to see the signs happen before the up move happens, right? Be at the bottom, be at the base where it's the best time to get in, right? Monthly RSI is looking good, bouncing off the 40 here. The stochastics are looking good, and the MACD, well, the MACD is kind of weird, to be completely fair. But the transition here is a positive thing, right? We've got the monthly ribbon flipping. We've got the breakout of this. We've got the transition and momentum of BCH BTC. And with all of that, there's still one more thing, and that is sentiment. Sentiment. The sentiment of Bitcoin Cash here is very bullish for anybody who's in the Bitcoin Cash community, for anybody who's paying attention to Bitcoin Cash. It's very bullish right now. Even though we're down 14% this month, it's very bullish because of all the reasons we're aware of right now. But the sentiment shift when Bitcoin Cash is above its last cycle high, whenever it shows that, hey, we are actually growing cycle after cycle, we are seeing higher lows and higher highs cycle after cycle, the perspective shift that's going to come from that will be immense. It'll be massive. And who knows, it might even take us through to new all-time highs altogether. This move, again, will be the largest move that we've ever seen in Bitcoin Cash's history. And if it's not the largest move, whether it's a downward move or an upward move, I don't mean whether it's a downward move, it will be an upward move, but whether you're comparing it to down moves or up moves, if it's not the largest move, it's going to be one of the largest moves, and certainly the most critical, like, life-altering, decisive move as far as what the course of action for Bitcoin Cash's price action will be in the coming days, coming months, coming years, in its future, right? This move I genuinely think will be massive, just because, again, perspective shift. Whenever we move up higher, we get above this high, perspective shift. Monthly ribbon, crossing, breaking out of this, BCH BTC chart, altogether, these are fantastic macro things to have on your side. And the only one that we haven't seen yet is that perspective shift. That's the only thing we haven't seen yet. Perspective shift is really easy. It's really easy to align yourself with the better Bitcoin, align yourself with the tech, right, quote unquote, whenever the price is pumping, right? Everybody's in it for the tech once the price pumps, right? That's how it is. If you're in Bitcoin Cash, you're in it for the tech for real right now, if you're in it right now. But if you buy after this point, if you weren't a believer up until that point there, you're not in it for the tech, you're in it for the pump. And that's okay. We're in crypto. We're all in it for the pump. But this thing's going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive. I would not be surprised in the least if we saw something that literally took this price from $480 to something that was greater than $2,000. If not by the end of the year, by the end of November. And again, this is going to be fun. Every person holding Bitcoin Cash, myself included, we're all going to be having a bunch of fun with this. This is going to be a great time, okay? But this is just when the party's getting started. When we break above this, this is just validation. What's next, right? We're going to see new all-time highs by the end of the cycle, you guys. From a high to a low, the expectation is overall that Bitcoin Cash sees a $13,000 price to something that's above $23,000, literally up in this range, which from the current price is anything from about a 27x to potentially a 48x, somewhere in that area. And typically with the 141 you do go a little bit above it. I truly would not be surprised if we saw a $20,000 Bitcoin by the end, Bitcoin Cash by the end of the cycle, right? Or should I say Bitcoin? Because again, we know which one is the better Bitcoin, which one is more adherent to what Bitcoin is supposed to be. And whenever it's not just us who are watching this video that's aware of this, but whenever it's the average constituent in the crypto space that's aware of this, again, that perspective shift will probably happen once we take out this high. That's when the fun starts. Okay. There's a lot of targets lining up with not just 13K, but 10K, 22K right here at the same level here, 30K. Higher levels. I mean, inevitably, Bitcoin Cash is going to achieve all these levels. We're going to see exactly the same prices Bitcoin has itself and beyond that as time goes on, right? If Bitcoin can hit 100,000, BCH will. If Bitcoin can hit 1 million, BCH will, right? It's going to happen in time. Anybody want to start a Bitcoin Cash treasury company with me? We can be the Michael Saylors of BCH. We'll call it Dragon HQ. I don't know. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It is the 20th. We are chilling right now. I believe that we've found our low. I don't believe that we go lower. There might be some turbulence ahead, and that's okay if there is. Let's actually look at some of the short-term stuff. I was going to end the video, but I forgot to do some actual TA. So let's do that, okay? Looking at this here on the 4-hour time frame, I think it's obvious that we are breaking out of this range, right? Lower highs, breaking out of that range there. Nice to see. A little bit of a double bottom in your RSI, lovely, with lower lows. We like to see that. Coming down, stabbing down with some volume, but you're not really going anywhere. I mean, you might be back testing for resistance here, and perhaps you do go lower, and in which case I will say if we do go below this low, everything's fine. I'm not worried about it. I would be very impressed if that happened. Actually, I would definitely be buying that low. But I think here, $481 Bitcoin Cash is a true gift. It really is. Stochastics look bullish. The MACD is bearish overall, but you have bullish divergence. You have reasons to be bullish, and the RSI is taking on a bullish stance as well. We look at the daily time frame here, bouncing off the oversold zone, bullish divergence here. The MACD, there's no bullish divergence. To be fair, the MACD kind of sucks on the daily, but other than that, the other two indicators are fine. I think that we're at a point where we really are going to move up. whenever you get this rolling over like this, you typically do finish your downward move with a stab, which I would say this is a pretty harsh move down. That is a stab. Maybe we have one more to go, but then soon enough, whether we move up here, whether we move down first and then we move up, regardless of what it is, soon enough we're going to be moving up. And mark my words, the reaction that we're going to have here, as fast as it is that we move down, we're going to move up faster. We're going to have a V-shaped recovery. Mark my words, okay? Going into the end of this month, we're going to have a V-shaped recovery. I would bet that we close October above $600. I bet we do. Anyways, I got nothing else, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.